Replacing a duplex receptacle with a GFCI receptacle and adding GFCI protected cable. The existing duplex receptacle will be replaced with a GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter, receptacle, and another GFCI protected cable will be added for electrical devices that require GFCI protection. Sketch of the existing duplex receptacle that is to be replaced with a GFCI receptacle and from which a GFCI protected cable will be added. A sketch of the GFCI receptacle connection that will protect the cable that powers electrical devices requiring GFCI protection. Cable from the power source. Cable to power another electrical outlet elsewhere. Turn off the power. Remove the receptacle wall plate. Make sure the power is turned off. Unscrew the receptacle from the junction box. Disconnect all wires from this receptacle. Pull the wires out of the junction box and use pliers to straighten all the wire ends. Open an available cable knockout in the junction box. Run a cable between the junction box for this receptacle and the junction box of the device being powered by this receptacle. That is the same diameter as the wires inside the junction box for the receptacle from which the cable is being added. Secure the cable to a stud no more than 12 inches from the entry point into the junction box. Remove the cable sheath. Remove the green wire nut from the existing ground wires and wrap the ground wire from the added cable to the existing ground wires. Reconnect the ground wires using the wire nut removed previously. Insert the ground wire connection into the junction box, leaving the pigtail wire outside the box. Group together the neutral, white, wires previously disconnected from the receptacle. Take a piece of white wire of the same diameter to make a pigtail. Strip about 1/2 inch of insulation from the end of this wire, and using pliers and a wire nut, connect it to the neutral, white wires previously disconnected from the receptacle. Insert spliced wires into the junction box, leaving the pigtail wire outside the box. Group together the hot, black wires previously disconnected from the receptacle. Take a piece of black wire of the same diameter to make a pigtail. Strip about 1/2 inch of insulation from the end of this wire, and using pliers and a wire nut, connect it to the hot, black wires previously disconnected from the receptacle. Insert spliced hot wires into the junction box, leaving the pigtail wire outside the box. Group all pigtail wires and the wires from the added cable, trim them to no shorter than 6 inches, and insert the trimmed wires into the junction box. To connect the wires to the GFCI receptacle, remove the wires from the junction box and strip the ends of the wires about 1/2 inch. GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter, receptacle, front view. Test button. Reset button. Receptacle status light. GFCI receptacle, rear view. Line wires connection terminals, from the power source. Load wires connection terminals, to the load, covered with warning sticker to prevent accidental connection when not in use. Ground terminal, green screw. Terminal line hot wire, for connecting the hot wire from the power source, gold screw. Terminal line white wire, for connecting the neutral wire from the power source, silver screw. Line terminals of the receptacle for connecting wires from the power source the incorrect order. Terminal load hot wire, for connecting the hot wire to the load, gold screw. Terminal load white wire, for connecting the neutral wire to the load, silver screw. Load terminals of the receptacle for connecting wires to the load in the correct order. Arrange the wires in pairs to connect them to the receptacle. Junction box wires. Ground wire, bare, that should be connected to the GFCI receptacle grounding terminal, green screw. Hot, black pigtail wire from the power source, which must be connected to the hot line hot wire, terminal of the receptacle. Neutral, white pigtail wire from the power source, which must be connected to the neutral line white wire, terminal of the receptacle. Both wires from the power source must be connected as a pair to the line terminals of the receptacle in the correct order. hot, black wire to the load, which must be connected to the hot, load hot wire terminal of the receptacle. Neutral, white wire to the load, which must be connected to the neutral, load white wire terminal of the receptacle. Both wires to the load must be connected as a pair to the load terminals of the receptacle in the correct order. Connect the ground, bare, wire to the ground terminal of the receptacle. Connect the neutral, white pigtail wire from the power source to the neutral, line white wire terminal of the receptacle. Connect the hot, black pigtail wire from the power source to the hot, line hot wire terminal of the receptacle. Remove the warning sticker from the load terminals of the receptacle. Connect the hot, black wire to the load to the hot, load hot wire terminal of the receptacle. Connect the neutral, white wire to the load to the neutral, load white wire terminal of the receptacle. Insert the wires into the junction box. Check that the wires are not loose and that they are properly connected to the receptacle by tightening the screws with a screwdriver. Secure the receptacle to the junction box and install the receptacle wall plate. GFCI receptacle installation complete. Complete the wiring on the load side of receptacle, added cable, restore power and test the receptacle. Press the GFCI receptacle reset button to reset it. Then use a GFCI receptacle tester to test the receptacle. If this video is helpful, please subscribe. Comments are welcome.